But the first kind of pathway I want to explore with you is there's a quote by Ernest Hemingway, which is I kind of live by with a lot of my writing and even when I come up with the questions for podcasts. And it's the first draft of everything is shit. Right? I don't know if you've heard that. And the reason I love this is I think in today's society, everyone's so obsessed.
I'm kind to Shakespeare, who allegedly wrote without blotting a line. Yeah. I don't know who on earth has the evidence for that, but there is the claim that he basically just sat down.
But I think what that quote allows you to do, and lots of comedians have that on their laptop there.
The first draft of everything is shit.
And it basically, what it means is that you've got to linking this to alchemy, you've got to get a lot of gold and lead to stumble across gold. So you need a lot of bad ideas to come up with good ideas. You need a lot of mistakes which will allow you to open that side door.
This is a fundamental problem of the way we've designed the world around kind of rational argument.
Yeah.
Which is, if you can only benefit from things that you've argued for in advance that are pre-planned or pre-rationalized, okay, you end up with a very limited solution space. Because actually, even in science, okay, never mind things like comedy, art, painting, etc. Even in science, probably the greater part of progress is unintended. Okay, it's observational, or it's what the steam talent called stochastic tinkering. You know, the reason steam locomotives got...
Sorry.
Don't worry. Stochastic tinkering is like, rather than planning the thing and saying this is what a steam engine should look like, it's building a pretty good steam engine and then continually fiddling around with it to refine it to make it better.
Yes, yeah.
So that, in other words, you're informed by practice rather than just theory. And we're trying to create a world where the theory informs everything. Because we place such a high value on what you might call pre-reasoning. Now, I mean, from my field of advertising, quite a lot, not all, quite a lot of the things that actually happened were not a case of someone planning something and arguing it through. They were a case of something happening accidentally and this is an important and, someone having both the perceptual acuity to notice the significance of it and the confidence to actually use it, okay? In other words, the confidence to act on an accidental occurrence. Now, you know, one of the greatest brand assets, you can imagine, the Dulux dog, okay? Now, you can post-rationalise why it's so great to have an old English sheepdog as a, you know, as a character in a paint commercial. It didn't happen like that at all. They were filming in a house which they'd rented, okay? The owner of the house they'd rented for filming the commercial owned an old English sheepdog, and it kind of escaped and wandered into the shoot. And the director of the commercial said, basically, the dog stays in the picture, okay? Now, if you're not allowed to do that, because essentially everything in life has to be pre-scripted by a kind of cabal of rationalist accountants and, you know, then actually your potential creative solution space is about 1/10 the size that it could be. And, you know, I'm going off on Saturday to be interviewed by Rick Rubin for his podcast. And, you know, he completely accepts the role of serendipity, accident, deliberate imposed randomness, or in some cases, another creative technique is what you might call the intermediate impossible. So you say, we've got to make money from an airline, but the one limitation is the planes aren't allowed to leave.
Sorry, sorry to interrupt. What were those three things?
Well, all of them are what you might call a case where you allow both fortune, serendipity, experience, and unintended consequences to inform the nature of your solution. Okay? In other words, you're not theory first, practice later. You accept that there's a constant feedback loop between doing and thinking.
That's why I like the first draft of everything is shit. It's because it allows for that serendipity.
I mean, someone once said, which is not a bad criticism of socialism, socialism is a political doctrine based on the mistaken belief that you can get things right first time. In other words, you have a theory of how the world should work, and the theory appeals to you, so you go and then unquestioningly impose it on reality, you know.
For sure, what I wanted...
probably a better criticism of communism.
I want to almost... Imagine I think everyone in their early career is so we're taught to go down this one route where it's that whole pre-planning, pre-rationalizing your life at 18, I think, is nuts, right? Like, there's like, we want to do this.
Yeah, by the way, I had a friend who was the head of policy for the Liberal Democrats, and he said one of the things that he thinks is undoubtedly true but politically unsayable is that it's actually pretty good for people to bum around at the beginning of their lives working out what they want to do, because they will find, therefore, what they end up doing for the next 20 years more rewarding, and they'll be better at it. Okay, but he said the idea that actually some period of youth unemployment is desirable is just politically unsayable. It's probably right.
Yeah.
You know.
No, for sure. It's like, it's someone, I interviewed a guy called David Hyatt. It's like, just because you know the problem doesn't mean you know the solution, right? Which I thought was brilliant.